Hi everyone, February is finally done and gone, so I'm going to review how it went for me because like every month there are bumps. I'm only 2 months into the new year, but I'm beginning to suspect there is no such thing as a normal month. The most abnormal thing about this month was a big ass number that I saw on my income report. $11,373.38. That number hit me like a grand piano, so let's examine that and explain that away. It actually messes up my average and everything. I wish I made $8,278 a month because that would mean I would be a high income earner. Working the way from the bottom up, $1,619 is because USAA gave me that amount of money to repair the rest of my car after the $1,000 deductible I already paid. So it is technically income, but it's dedicated purely for spending. And then next, I closed out my Acorns account, and that had about $3,597. And this one was tricky because it's money that I already had. But whenever you make a transfer from your off-budget tracking account onto an on-budget account, it shows it as income, even if it's going to be immediately spent again. So it was technically spent because I reinvested all of that money except for 42 cents. I kept that for myself, but this would also technically cancel out. 2,000 is because my roommate was 2 months late, and then she also wanted to give me half of March. That also technically evens out. That money goes straight into a housing savings fund, and I use that for bills, house repairs, and maintenance. Next up is interest, and that's been really fun this month. I recently got a M1 Finance premium account for free, and they offer a 1% interest as opposed to the 5.5% interest I'm currently getting on my savings account. So I decided to pop 10,000 in there. They pay out monthly, and I won't see that money from them until next month, but I also signed up for Current, and they have a sweet deal of 4% interest. It's only up to $2,000 for free, but if you pay $5 a month, you can get 4% interest on $6,000. And it kind of sounded like a scam, but my stepdad majored in economics and has a law degree and then later became a math teacher. He did the math for me and looked into it for me, and as long as I don't withdraw the $6,000, I will still make more of a profit, even with the subscription, and more so than just leaving it in my regular account. So I moved 6,000 into that account because it's the max, and it's fun because it compounds daily, but it also pays you daily. So every day I get to go in there and I get to reconcile the account with 65 cents towards my emergency fund. The novelty might wear off later, but right now I've been doing scheduled transactions for every morning and reconciling it every day. It kind of blows my mind that people in the 80s would get 7 to 9% interest, which is basically comparable to investing. It was wasted on the wrong generation, if you ask me. Next is the $4,120, which is just my regular salary. Next month, it will be $400 less because finally I can start contributing to my 401k, and then I can get the match at the end of the year. I apparently got $2 in cash. I don't really know where that's from. And then I got my rewards from Ibotta, and that's a rewards app I use for getting groceries. It takes me forever to work up to $20. I cash out once a year. But apparently Ibotta does not work with Discover, so those good times are over. If you have another bank besides Discover, you can try it with my referral code in the description. I don't remember if it comes with a reward or anything, but it's there. So if I were to get rid of some of these outliers, then I would have just gotten $6,156.70. But even that is more than I project to get in the future, even though, well, I shouldn't say project, but expect. While it was really fun to play with these big girl numbers, I'm always more interested in how much I can save. So toolkit reports will give me an estimate here. It shows as a red number because I believe I have it set to if I save anything less than 15%, it's in the red. It would be great if I could consistently hit 15 or up, but I'd be happy if I could consistently hit 14%. If we pop over to the budget, we can see that I have 12 savings categories for my bills, And then here, and I have always been content to just fund each one a little at a time rather than trying to aggressively hit one goal. I wonder if it ever frustrates people to see me assign like $50 a month to something, but it's worked for me so far. On my budget, I keep a monthly note to remind me how much I should be saving, investing, and spending. These numbers technically don't really apply this month because I made more than I should have. And so I am way ahead on the estimated income, even though a lot of it cancels out. And because I had technically more income, then that means I was way higher on the investing percentage. It ended up being 41% of all that money was going towards investments. Even if I didn't have the Acorns money, because I bought stock and crypto, I would have hit that amount even without it. As we saw, I am shy of saving 14% by a single point, but I'm gonna forgive myself. And then over here, I have spending of like $2,900, which is normally 64% of my net income. Obviously, that cannot apply. So if I look back at my reports and then I get rid of the investing, my overall spending is $5,185, and that's only 45% of the income, which is a lot lower than that 64% I just mentioned. These numbers make me wish that I made 100K a year, but probably everybody wants to make that much. So now that we have an understanding of where my income came from and if I was meeting my basic intentions, we can talk about any purchases that were unexpected. I have been refinancing my house, and then between Wells Fargo being really slow and then me getting sick towards the end of January, I wasn't sure when the charges would come. But they just did this past weekend. It was really just for my mom's peace of mind. I went from having a 79,717.41 balance with a 3.5 interest rate on a 30-year mortgage to an 84K mortgage with an interest rate of 2.265, and that's over 15 years. I was already really ahead on my mortgage. I had paid off 10 years worth of principal in just 3 years, but my mother still did not want the debt anymore, so I get to pay an extra $100 a month on my mortgage every month, and then plus the extra debt, and then of course the closing costs, which were upfront about $1,800. So thanks, Mom. I didn't have a way to get a check, so my mom paid for it. I gave her a small amount in return, just as a partial payment, but then she said, oh, okay, well, that's fine because the check wasn't that much anyway. So I think she actually feels bad about me taking on the extra debt, and so I actually don't know if I have to fully pay her back or not. I'm just going to wait for her to bug me about it, because if she's going to let me keep $1,546.50, then that's a blessing to me. And then aside from that sort of once in a lifetime purchase is a sort of rare purchase whenever you're a homeowner. My washer was leaking and I didn't want it to mess up my floors. So I sold my dryer and I took my washer to the dump, and then I bought a new set, and all of that was all in one Sunday, this past Sunday. So luckily I have that housing fund I mentioned to cover it, because it was $395 out of the blue. And then I even actually technically paid more than that because I gave someone $150 for a down payment on their set, but then I got to their house and I saw how ratty it was, and so I asked for my money back. And thankfully they did send it instead of scamming me, but it hasn't hit my account yet. So technically, over the course of the whole weekend, I spent $545 on getting this washer dryer situation fixed. Because I didn't know how long it would take to get a new washer, I also did something I've never done before. I sent all my laundry out to get cleaned. So they picked it up from my front door and then delivered it back, washed, dried, folded, and they returned my hampers. But they did not return my detergent though, and I gave them months worth of detergent, so I'm gonna have to see what they say about that. But otherwise, I'm happy with the service, even though it was pricey. I will never be in a situation to do that again. But another thing I did was spend $200 on hiring some housekeepers just today. Definitely, that is not a normal practice for me, but my kitchen was really dirty because there was a lot of cooking going on, and my roommate stained my granite countertop that I handpicked, and there was a dog here who tore up all sorts of things, and the house was just kind of crazy. I was too stressed out, so I said, fuck it, and I hired someone within the hour because I didn't even want to go downstairs to work or to get food or anything. I was like really upset. So sometimes I get overwhelmed, especially because I have untreated depression. So sometimes it's better for me to just cry in my car with mozzarella sticks on my lunch break and have someone else scrub my toilets. Too much information? Yes, I know. I would love to have a monthly, setup where someone cleans my house, but we'll have to see because it definitely cannot be, $200. The reason I was able to pay for the cleaning without taking out of my savings is because my car insurance did not charge me this month. They skipped this month and they're charging me extra next month. And I'm not sure why, but that's why I could handle it outside of affecting my regular spending or my savings. This transportation category is still not a great deal though, because this month repairing my car cost me $1,589.26, and then I'll still owe $800 on it next month. So another thing is I lend people money and then they don't pay it back, but I tell myself they're going to pay it back. So that's just me and my life. Overall, I also want to talk about spending that made me happy, because money is such an emotional thing and it can go beyond the numbers. I'm happy that I paid for the housekeepers. I grew up with a monthly housekeeper in my parents' house, and it was maybe the only thing actually I ever liked about living with my parents. I have a robot vacuum, but going from a freshly scrubbed shower into a bed with fluffed pillows, it feels like staying in a hotel. So if I were ever to be rich, that would be my number one priority, like once a week, somebody cleaning. Even though I'm really upset about them stealing all my expensive, eco-friendly laundry detergent, it is just refreshing to have all my clothes folded, because normally I just have two massive piles in my bedroom. One that's clean and one that's dirty. And then I also usually have a massive pile on my couch in the living room where it's clean, but I don't even want to bring it upstairs. I don't mind washing the clothes, but like folding, I dislike that almost as much as making my bed. Dining out, all of these purchases make me happy. French fries are definitely my favorite food. I will go somewhere just for the fries, and I really consider the rest of the meal totally secondary. I love them, and I don't have any guilt because I still stayed under budget when I count food that I only spent on myself. So NM stands for not mine, and if I subtract that going all the way back from the 16th, which is the last time I got paid, then I did the math and I only spent $74.98 on dining out these last 2 weeks. My goal was no more than $100. So I'm sure I technically went over $100 for the meals for people that were like not my meals, but I don't really care about that. As far as what I consumed, that is $25 under budget, so shocked and amazed. Another thing that made me happy that isn't in the budget this month, though, that happened this month, was seeing the Frida Kahlo exhibit. I think I paid for that in December. It was a really nice art exhibit, and then I saw the MacGyver musical with my family, which I didn't pay for, but definitely a lot of gas that weekend driving around. So it's a world premiere musical where the lead of the musical is actually someone in the audience, and they sing and dance and all their lines are done by cue card. So I auditioned in front of the whole theater with like 4 other people. I wasn't picked as the lead, thankfully, because the person who got picked was like really great, but that was fun. I'm glad I got to do that. And then there are some things that I am proud of this month besides underspending on dining out technically. It's that I finally decided to do something with that Acorns money that was just sitting around. And then I moved my old Roth IRA into my new platform, so it's more consolidated. And then I started investing in real estate via FundRise instead of like risking it all to get a really small rental property. And also, I'm proud that, with all the bumps in the road about the car and the washer, that it was all still covered because I have spent years, I have been saving since 2018 at least, trying to prepare for things like this. So, it's not a perfect month. I did not hit every single goal of, spending very little and saving more, but so what? I don't know. I wish I had more money and less debt and I didn't have to spend on everything that I spent on, but I mean, I don't know. This is just the truth. It's my February and it was a hell of a lot more enjoyable than January, and I am sure that once my car is totally fixed, things will stabilize in March and beyond. So I'm feeling ready for the next month tomorrow. And lastly is my net worth. So right now, my net worth is negative $23,656.47. So that is about a 3%, or not 3%, $3,000 jump from last month, even despite the market downturns. But I am sure it will go back down next month as the final car payment and refinance settles in. I do keep track of my net worth and I like when it goes up, but I understand fluctuations are totally normal and they're not reflective of like my actual worth. So no matter what, it is okay. Oh, and you know what? I had another question. Why is this net worth different from the net worth we just saw over here? Does anybody know how that's calculated? Because if you know, please tell me. But anyway, I am sorry that these money diary videos are always so long, but they're really just for me. I don't blame people who click away because this is really detailed and not even I like my own voice. But if you did stick around, thank you for your patience while I brain dump and word vomit all over the place. I'll leave you with that lovely visual. So bye. See you probably really soon because I get paid tomorrow and I can budget my first March check tomorrow.